Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Monday, November 3rd, and this is Admissions Live. I'm your host, Chris Dorso, and today on the show we are talking with a couple of my colleagues at Beloit College in Wisconsin about how they are doing things with video a little differently. Everybody wants to do video. Everybody's trying to do innovative things with video, and well, folks, Beloit has done it, and they will show us a little bit about how they do what they do and why they do what they do in just a little bit. Admissions Live is part of the Higher Ed Live network. This is a series of professional development web shows and podcasts, always free and accessible to you in our archives at higheredlive.com and on iTunes. Be part of our broadcast by tuning in live and sharing your insights and questions using the Higher Ed Live hashtag on Twitter. And you can also receive weekly updates with live show dates and times by subscribing to the Higher Ed Live newsletter. Today's show would not be possible, as always, without the support of my colleagues here at Stony Brook University and our friends at M. Stoner. All of our Higher Ed Live shows, including Admissions Live, are produced by M. Stoner, a marketing and communications firm that works with educational institutions on branding, strategy, web design, and more. Face it, from the very beginning of your career, you've never had that professional stamp that says you're an expert in enrollment management. Well, now you have that opportunity. Abilene Christian University's new graduate certificate in enrollment management provides 4 highly interactive online courses that can be completed in as little as 10 months. Combined with a unique residency component, the program is designed to help enrollment management professionals expand their knowledge and give them a credential to set themselves apart in the field. Visit acu.edu/enrollment management to learn more. College visits made simple. Our mission at Welcome to College is to help students find colleges where they will flourish, and as such, Welcome to College has created the Marv Fitology Workshop for campus tour guides. The program weaves the science of happiness with the power of the campus tour, and you can tweet at Welcome to College. That's Welcome, the number 2 College, to find out more. And finally, Zinch is a service of Chegg that helps colleges and universities save time and money while connecting with best fit students throughout their college search. Zinch partners save up to 90% on the recruitment cost of generating a single enrollment for their institution while putting students first in their recruitment outreach. Email outreach@zinch.com or tweet at @socialadmission to get in touch with your institution's dedicated Zinch rep today. And with that, I would like to bring in our guests on this first Higher Ed Live show of the month of November. Our guests are from Beloit College in Wisconsin. I'd like to welcome Melissa Dix, who is the Web and New Media Director and Associate Director of the Office of Communications and Marketing, and Amanda Frisbee, who is a web designer and developer, and I've completely flubbed both of their titles already, so we're off to a rockin' start. But welcome to Melissa and Amanda.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys. So Melissa and Amanda and I were all at High Ed Web last 2 weeks ago. I feel like it was just yesterday. 2 weeks ago we were at High Ed Web out in Portland, and there was a ton of great workshops there, and hopefully you all saw the live show that we did from Portland. But one of the conversations that the 3 of us had was about video, and about how Beloit is doing some different kinds of things. So if you would, guys, I will cede the floor to you. Talk a little bit about yourselves, do a little introduction, and talk a little bit about Beloit and what sort of school you are, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, Chris. Well, Beloit College is a small liberal arts college. We're located in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is on the Illinois-Wisconsin state line. We were founded in 1846. Our students practice the liberal arts here at Beloit. They're involved and take ownership of their education, and in order to communicate the message that our students do that, we felt like video was the best way to go.
And really, too, to be able to, show to our prospective students what it is like to be here at Beloit and to actually dive in and do things while you're here.
Using video in place of large images allowed us to communicate the vibrancy, just all the activity that goes on campus, all the various things you can do here in a way that giant pictures just couldn't.
So I want to, very quickly, I want to just tweet out the link to Beloit's homepage, so you've got it. So if you are following us at Higher Ed Live on Twitter, that just popped out there somewhere. There it is. So you can go to Beloit EDU and kind of eyeball. Why did this not work? Come on, technology. Oh, because I said it. the wrong time. Undo, cancel, tweet, boom, technology. All right, we're good. All right, so the link to Beloit's website is out there, and like everybody, as I said, everybody wants to do video. Hello?
What was that, Chris?
You know, everybody wants to do video. You know, it's everybody wants to do video well. And so, what exactly is it that you're doing? Talk about what you're doing and how you're doing it differently.
All right. Well, should we go ahead and share here on the screen here to show what it actually looks like as well?
Yeah, let's do that. And I'm gonna apologize. We did a sort of test run earlier, and it's a little herky-jerky on the video here, so I'm apologizing on behalf of Google. And when you go to Beloit.edu, it's much smoother than what you're about to see. But talk us through what you've got. Go for it.
All right. So as you'll see here, we just have some clips. This is actually our new video for the month of November. Each month we're trying to put up a new montage that just should have been happening on campus and students in action while they're here. Melissa, did you want to add anything else?
I think it's just important to point out that, again, this gives prospective students, their parents, when they're visiting our site, a sense of place, so they're able to see the activity that happens here, and in some cases, like what's on screen right now, even what our students experience as they travel and study abroad. The energy, the day-to-day life that we see here on campus, we just really wanted to get that out there, especially for folks who haven't been here or aren't able to visit. And so we think this is a really good way to do that. So.
All right. So we'll go ahead and stop that stream for now. Hopefully you visit our page and see some more. We do also have a lot of content on our site that just links out to other videos as well that are on our YouTube channel. So.
Okay, so how do you integrate what you may do on YouTube? Because every college has got a YouTube page where we put all sorts of things up. How do you integrate what you're doing sort of front-facing? Because obviously something that sort of pops up on your main site, there's no, you may not have sound attached and people talking and all those kinds of things. So how do you, interface those two things together?
Right now we've got 6 videos on our homepage linking out to different videos that also capture the experience of Beloit. We've got a series that covers places and spaces at Beloit College campus. We've got those prominently featured on the homepage. They pop up in a light box, so you don't actually leave the homepage to view them. They're embedded, so you can close them and continue to look around. We've also got a few videos out there that we feel really kind of capture the ethos of campus to share with people. Things like our student statement of culture, and a video about what Beloit is to our alums. So we feel like by putting that video out on the homepage, we're giving people an experience that they can explore without even leaving the homepage to learn a little bit more about us via video. We're also right now in the works putting more video into our admissions homepage. We've got a redesign in the works that should launch in about a week. Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's trying to get those videos up front and center where people are definitely going to see them and have an opportunity to watch them right from our site. So.
Have you run into any sort of bandwidth concerns or data usage concerns? I mean, I know we talk a lot on this show in the past about mobile use and all those kinds of things. Have you run into any of those kinds of issues?
So as we've tested things out, we've come across things of that nature. We do go in and we process the videos so that they are, smaller memory. We also have on that homepage video that plays, it actually loops through just twice. And then it's just a still image that stays for the rest of the time. But yeah, that is something that we've seen. With the mobile site, we actually have a rotation of images that have a similar action to what the video is on the desktop version, but we're not actually streaming the video there.
Okay. Do you have a lot of the same sorts of links to all the external sorts of videos and things?
Yes.
Yeah, it sort of makes sense. So I want to ask about the monthly piece. So I'm assuming that you are constantly videotaping all the time?
We're capturing a lot of B-roll, and we employ about 14 students in something that we call the Student Collective. Those students are trained in how to use our equipment so that they can go out and capture B-roll for us as well. So I don't think we'd be able to do it with just our one videographer who also covers special events, but with the help of the students and their ability to capture things that we sometimes don't even know about or wouldn't be a part of, it really streamlines that process. It gives us the content we need to be able to refresh every month.
That's fantastic. So I want to dive into that a little bit. So you've got a team of students. How did you find them? Or did they find you? How did you create that student team? Because I know that's something that in admissions we are constantly trying to create student teams. And so hearing a team of 14, I'm immediately envious.
Well, we actually have kind of pulled everyone together in the last year and tried to focus more on an agency model. So the students sign on for specific positions, but we cross-train them and we ask them to do work in other areas as well. So they're collaborating as team members, as peers, rather than just reporting to us. We have bi-weekly meetings with that group where we showcase their work and talk about who's working on what. We also have them sign up for events, photo shoots, things that need to be captured. But for the most part, they're just out there doing the work that we've asked them to do, in addition to things they bring to us that they find would be exciting and maybe a good way to market Beloit.
And in recruiting them, I mean, it's a lot of, one, we post our positions online, so then when students see those and they're more enticing than, say, working in food services and things of that nature, they'll come to us and then we'll interview them and talk through the different opportunities that they could have. Sometimes, too, we'll just see work out there that students are doing, and then we'll kind of try to track them down and talk to them a bit more about what they're doing and see if they'd be interested in working with us as well.
Social media has been great for helping us find students that already have the skill set that we're looking for. Just kind of keeping an eye out there. It's a great point, Amanda. We've been able to find a lot. I'd also say that word of mouth has been fantastic in the last semester. At the end of this semester, we find ourselves being approached by students who want to be a part of the collective just because they're hearing either about the experience from people they know, or they're seeing the work that the students that are in the collective are producing, and they want to be a part of that. So,
the collective. I love the phrase "the collective." That's so very Midwestern, I guess.
that might be it.
Maybe that's just my New York bias showing through. I don't know. So how difficult was it to make this happen? How do you make this sort of a complete redesign happen? I know one of the struggles we have at the university level now is Stony Brook. We're a much bigger place, and so we have a sort of a different sort of outlook than a smaller liberal arts college would. But how do you make that transition from, you know, to sort of a traditional higher ed homepage to going so full on video like this?
Well, you know, the process started with just doing a lot of research, looking out there and what was new, you know, across the board, not just in higher ed, but in other areas as well. And we just saw a lot of movement, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of interactive pieces, and getting, you know, that motion out there. So not only do we have video, but we also have some jQuery and JavaScript things out there too, so that when people are going through the site, they get those elements there as well. And then, you know, went through several iterations throughout the process to try to get to where we really wanted to be. And when it came to implementing it, using the content management system we have, which is Reason, it was developed by Carleton College up in Northfield, Minnesota. It's really pretty straightforward as far as being able to customize the templates that you use in different areas on your website and be able to drop in different content pieces. So it was really, it's really a good, easy process in order to be able to get different elements in there that you want to be working out there.
I think the flexibility of Reason as a content management system and the willingness of our upper management to kind of take some risks were the two greatest factors that helped us be able to pull this off.
I think the willingness of upper management to take risks is probably the biggest deal breaker for any of us anywhere in the field. I have questions that we're sort of getting on the back end, and I want to make sure we sort of address those. And so we got a question about using other media, Vine and Instagram videos and things like that. So are you using any of those kinds of things?
We do Instagram more than we do Vine, but we do have Vine out there as well. I know that we have some followers and some likes out on Vine as well. We're not quite as integrated in that at this time, but Instagram, we don't do a lot of video content there, but we try to Monday through Friday change out the image every single day. With that being said, again, going back to using student work, I have been managing the Instagram account since the beginning of this semester for the fall, and it's pretty much all student curated now. I have a lot of students that I follow, and then I just go and I reuse their images and put them out there and credit each time which student they came from.
Credit, oh so important. I generally find on our end that students are generally responsive when we say, hey, we're going to use your image. I'm assuming that you've probably found
Oh
similar.
yeah. Yeah, and a lot of them really, I think, are a little bit flattered that you've reached out to them to say, I've seen your work and I really love it and I'd love to use it, and I think that they take pride in that as well.
I want to go back to, you mentioned your CMS and you mentioned Carleton College. One of the workshops that we went to at High Ed Web that was so incredibly effective and was named one of the top workshops of the conference was a workshop by Mark Heyman from Carleton, who talked about looking at the website from a 16-year-old's perspective. And one of the things that came up a couple of times over the course of the 3 days in Portland was that every web page on your site, on your university site, your .edu, is an admissions page. As an admissions guy, I am I'm completely on board with that. What are your thoughts on that? And I do want to send out a link to Mark's presentation, which I will also dump out on the Higher Ed Live Twitter account, because it was fantastic. To give you a little background on what Carleton did, they got a group of students together and they showed them a bunch of college and university websites and said, what do you think, basically, and looked at their reactions to the front page. And so so now I have two questions. I'm going to ask you the first, which is the one I just asked. Your thoughts on every page on your site being an admissions site.
Well, we agree, and we absolutely loved Mark's presentation. We both attended it and thought it was fantastic, like thought-provoking. So we too would encourage you, if you haven't seen it, to go out there and take a look. I think it's true, and I also think that a lot of what Mark talked about in terms of us not being 16 anymore, I think one of the best ways that we can approach designing for this prospective student audience is to think about what they are looking at every day. And I think a lot of what Mark said supports that. We need to go out and look at the sites that are popular. We need to think about the way they've been marketed to, at least in the last few years, and we need to position ourselves in a way that we're in line with the way they think about looking at a product, because essentially that's what we are to them during the search process. So
it's hard sometimes to think of us as product because we're an educational institution, but you have to think of us as product.
Yeah.
Very, very much. So what has response been to the site? You launched in September, you said?
Yes, first week of September.
Okay, so how has response been at a time when, for an admission cycle, this is a crucial piece for us, where we're getting lots of hits from potential students?
We're hearing great things from our admissions counselors who are out in the field. They're coming back and letting us know that people remember the site, that they like it. I think that a lot of people have come back and said they thought it was really cool that we have video. We've also heard really good things about the responsiveness of the site. We had one great story from an admissions counselor who's pretty sure that the parents were researching the college in the lobby of the hotel while he was interviewing the student, and they commented on how great the responsive version was, which is also encouraging since it doesn't have the video component. So.
I want to sort of address that because I think that's a really valid point. As we're out admissions folks are out on the road and we're talking with students, we're sitting in a guidance office or we're standing behind the table in a high school gym, students can find information about our schools from our websites, sometimes in theory, I suppose, hopefully, faster than we can give it to them. And so, how do you, this was a great question, how do you get all that content so that it's easily accessible on that main page? And I know I'm sort of diverging from the video piece, but a student walks up to the table and says, "Can you tell me about X?" Or they have a question about a major or whatever. How do you get that so that students can find that on the website very, very easily?
So on the desktop version, we have drop-down menus that show up in the different categories that are there, and we've tried to pinpoint those into content areas that we feel are key for the prospective students, also through analytics that we've kept track of so that we know where we were getting hits. When it comes to the mobile version of it, we don't quite have that robustness when it comes to the drop-downs, but we do have a menu that then takes them to those key areas, and then you can also navigate to different links on those sites as well.
I think, too, that the importance here of making sure that your search is effective and that you're tagging things appropriately. We recently did, at the end of last semester, some visits with local area high school students, and they talked about search. They talked about the way that they go to search when they can't find things, and browsing is sometimes just as a first option. So I think that, in addition to making sure that we're telling the story on the homepage very broadly to include aspects we know they're interested in based on those visits, we also want to make sure that our content's tagged appropriately, that they can find it based on the terms they're likely to search for.
Makes sense. So now you talked a little bit about the admission site redesign coming soon. What are your plans there?
So we're going to, again, have video up at the top. It won't be playing in the page as it does on the home page, but it will be, again, a light box where if you click on it, it'll open up right on the page directly. We're also going to have 3 additional videos beneath that one that link into light boxes too. And then we have a few interactive elements that are similar to things that are on the home page as well, that when you hover over them, you get different facts about the college. One important piece that we've seen on our admissions site is that we have a form that allows prospective students, or anyone really, to submit quickly a question to admissions. And that really has gotten a lot of traffic in the last year. So that's another key thing that we're keeping there. But again, we're going to have at least 4 videos up on that page at any time. So
I think too that we've got we're doing the same thing on admissions page that we tried to do with the homepage, which is essentially to make it look like the other sites. We know this demographic is visiting, so that they see that quick movement, they see that opportunity to watch a video. Again, when we went and visited with those high school students, the response they had to the video that we showed them that was already complete kind of shocked us. We found that they wanted really short, really fast-moving videos, especially if they had great music along with them, which is always a challenge. But so a lot of the video content that's out there, both on the homepage and on the new admissions page, it's under a minute. I mean, it's really quick. It's moving through things and concepts really quickly. We're working on developing videos that address the major areas that these students told us they were interested in. Things like, what are your majors? What exactly is study abroad, and how does that work? So we're trying to answer some of those questions with really quick videos.
Have you done anything with sort of live video, video chats or anything along those lines?
Our admissions office is exploring that in a variety of different ways, things like Google Hangouts to meet with students who can't make a campus visit. We also do a lot of live streaming on campus, so a lot of our special events are live streamed. And we get the video out there in front of that too. So if we have a live stream session, we've actually got one coming up this week on Wednesday. We'll put out some B-roll that's very similar to the homepage montage, just to kind of draw people in and give them a sense of our community and our space and what it's like to be here.
And one with the live streams, we also have a lunchbox lecture series that happens, I think, at least once a month, right? And so that's faculty talking on different topics that they're involved in at that time. And we try to promote that out on social media, especially to the alums from Beloit, so that they can come back and have lunch with the professor and see what's going on. So.
And you found that, I'm assuming the response has been good from the public perspective, but you're getting buy-in on campus, faculty and folks who you're videotaping. The response is good. The folks want to be out there and want to be invested in what you're doing.
I think so, yeah. I mean, we get good response. We have quite a few folks around campus, both faculty and staff, that we kind of consider to be our cheerleaders. They kind of take the message forward. Obviously, there's some people that are frustrated if you have the homepage as your homepage in your browser and you're here every day. That video is not quite as exciting as we hope it is to the target audience. But we've been able to get a lot of support. We have a web committee that's comprised of individuals from all the different areas around campus. And so by working through them and getting their approval on this process before we started development, we're in a position to say that we've really done our research and make sure that everyone's informed about the reasons for doing things the way we're doing them.
How did you put together that web committee? I'm curious.
It's been around since about 2008 when we actually started using Reason, the content management system. And we basically just went out to each academic department. Well, we've got one faculty and one student representative, and then we've got somebody from each administrative area. And they've rotated out just a little bit, but it's been pretty much the same committee since 2008.
Cool. So what would your recommendation or recommendations be for folks who are looking to do more video stuff? And you can be broad, you can be specific. What sorts of things should we be doing differently on when it comes to video?
I think one of the main things our videographer, Caroline Robinson, would say is that the involvement with the students is crucial. I think that getting the students out there, they're going to see things and capture things that we're not likely to, like I said, sometimes even know about, but they have a really interesting perspective, and they're really good at capturing the energy. I also think she would say you can't really take too much B-roll. If you go out for anything, just take the camera along. You just never know what is going to be something that's just incredibly useful later. It's never a waste, especially since we don't have to worry about tape or film, to just go out there and capture something. If you're there, bring it along. Why not?
Something I forgot to ask you earlier about your student team, speaking of that. So you've got a team of folks. Do you provide them with technology in any way, or are you relying on them to use their phones and whatever they may have to get that content for you?
We've got some equipment in-house, and they check it out. We use a Google Calendar for them to check it out. They have access. Our offices are actually in the library, so they have access anytime the library is open, which is really nice. The library's been great about collaborating with us to help make that technology accessible to them outside of 8 to 5 business hours. In some cases, they do use their own equipment if they're more comfortable with it. We've had a few students that just would prefer to use their own DSLR, and a lot of them use their own phones just because it would be kind of a pain to check one out and go take pictures. It usually occurs more in the moment, so they're willing to do that.
That's cool. So they would just sort of check out the technology the way they would any other library piece.
Yep.
That's fantastic. And my wife, the librarian, would be thrilled by that because that's thinking outside the box. See, we span everything here on Admissions Live. So as we get close to 1:30, I do want to sort of keep us in time. Any final thoughts before we wrap up about your experiences with video, things you would have done differently, or things that you're particularly proud of, or both?
I think we're really proud of the way that it turned out, and we're really excited about it, and we're so excited to be recruiting the next class of Beloiters and giving them such a clear picture. I think we also both are really, really glad that we used Reason, the content management system that we do. So if there's any last-minute time here to plug it, I would just say if you're searching for a content management system, please reach out to us or the folks, the web development team at Carleton. It's also used by Luther, which is in Iowa, and Kalamazoo College. And it's fantastic. I'm not sure that we could have done this with some of the other content management systems that I've personally used and that I've seen out there. The flexibility of the software, the team that's all involved in the open source collaboration was all pretty crucial to our success here too. So. Cool.
Well, I want to thank Melissa and Amanda for joining me this afternoon, and apologies to Jason Hughes, who hopefully is watching from home. Beloit was supposed to join those guys there, and hopefully everything's all right at home. Admissions Live will be back in 2 weeks with my co-host Nicole Lentini. Thanks as always to our program sponsors, M. Stoner and Chegg and ACU, and welcome to college. Coming up on Wednesday on Student Affairs Live, host Heather Gasser talks with 4 national leaders and campus experts on access, disability, and inclusion about reframing disability identity on campus. And as always, get reminders about this and other great shows by subscribing to the Higher Ed Live newsletter. You can browse the archives at higheredlive.com or subscribe to the Higher Ed Live podcast on iTunes. I'm Chris Dorso. Thanks for watching. Back in 2 weeks with more with Admissions Live.